on the Cambridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network from Learfield. Welcome to This Week in Ball State Sports, a Ball State Athletics podcast, highlighting the Cardinals athletics teams and administration each week. Presented by Cambridge. Here's the voice of the Cardinals, your host, Mick Tidrow.
Hey, Cardinal fans, welcome back into This Week in Ball State Sports, and it's our last episode here of 2024. The semester has flown by, and it's now the holiday season with the semester in the books. Jeff Mitchell joining us first, the Director of Athletics of Ball State. We'll also have Dr. Michael Thorpe on the podcast as well from ReVitalize Med Spa, talking about his business and partnership with Ball State. But first, starting off is Jeff Mitchell. Jeff, appreciate your time as always, and I know things are crazy here at the end of the semester.
Well, Mick, thank you for having me. And you mentioned how quickly the semester has flown by, and isn't that the truth? It has gone by so quickly, and it's amazing to think that we're now finished with the fall semester, and our attention is turned to getting started in the spring semester on January 6th. But looking forward to a quick little break here over the holidays.
Yeah, it'll go by fast too, Jeff. I know that the basketball schedule has it lined up to where the last game before the holiday is the 21st, and then you've got the New Year's Eve game. Both of those are basketball events, and then we'll get rolling on New Year's Day with women's basketball on the road. So it doesn't really slow down fully because of games, but there is an 8-day window for no athletics taking place in terms of events. But with basketball coming up here this week, Jeff, there's a big one on Thursday for the women's side against Anderson, community night, and also Christmas sweater night. So I expect to see you in your finest Christmas sweater attire on Thursday, and then Saturday home men's basketball against Evansville.
Well, it's a fun week of hoops for sure, and excited to host both on Thursday night and on Saturday afternoon. And the women are playing well. The men had a big win over Bellarmine this past weekend, and are showing signs of continued competitiveness and improvement. And then this will be the last couple of games. The men, of course, have another non-conference game on New Year's Eve. And then both teams, of course, play in the Mid-American Conference, Sun Belt Conference Challenge for the final non-conference game that comes later in February. But we're about to get into conference play. And so these are the last couple of tune-up games going into Mid-American Conference play. So there's a lot that our teams are looking forward to as we go into conference play. I also want to mention, Mick, and you referenced a little bit of that gap time between games over the Christmas break. This is a blessing for our staff because we have been working so hard over the course of the last several months, hosting events seemingly every other day, and they need a break. And we've got a great group of individuals that work in our operations and facilities areas that do a lot of work behind the scenes that our fans sometimes, and even our own staff, take for granted of the work that they do. And I applaud them for the work that they do, and everything that is done to make it turnkey for our fans to enjoy coming to Ball State events, for our other support staff to do the work that they do. And it's a real team effort. There's a lot of collaboration, and there's a lot of folks that do a lot of excellent work around here. And we're trying to support them as best we can to do that work. And oftentimes, though, it's unsung, and there's not a lot of fanfare for them. But I really appreciate all that goes into it, and it matters, and it helps with our student athlete experience, our fan experience. And so I wanted to take this time to thank them for the work that they do.
It's a great point, Jeff, especially with a little bit of that layoff. It gives them a chance to reset before January hits, because we know January will be fast and furious in 2025, getting rolling really quickly. Talking more about the basketball teams, Jeff, you mentioned men's basketball with the big win against Bellarmine. It's a tough road environment. Like, you go down there, it's a 22-seat capacity arena, and it's all packed in together, and it was loud, man. There was probably 1,100, 1,200 fans, but it felt like a lot more, and Ball State was able to finish that out in the clutch.
Yeah, and it's always good to win on the road too, particularly when you're trying to figure out an identity of your own, and to do it on the road, to do it. We had to come from behind a little bit to figure it out, but then we were competitive, and even at the end, as Bellarmine made a late run, we're figuring out a way to win. And I know that's been a message that Coach Lewis has been given to his team, and he referenced it in the post-game interview on ESPN Plus. Just we've got to learn how to win, and that goes a long way when you can go on the road and do that in a tough environment. It's just different, right, from the arenas that we're used to playing in, and those small, intimate arenas sometimes are nerve-wracking because the fans are right on top of the court, and even though it's a smaller crowd, it seems like it's a huge one because the environment is so small and intimate. And credit Bellarmine for the atmosphere that they had, but credit Ball State for our resilience and the level of competitiveness with which we're beginning to play. And I'm looking forward to hosting Evansville, another good opponent, here at Worthen. So looking forward to having a big crowd and watching some holiday hoops.
Jeff Mitchell, Director of Athletics, joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports. Women's team takes on Anderson as well, coming up on the 19th. That's Thursday. Are you wearing a Christmas sweater on Thursday, Jeff?
Nick, I don't know.
You're usually looking dapper in the suit and tie, but I had to ask.
Well, I may have to go shopping for a Christmas sweater. I don't have a lot of sweaters, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay, if it makes you feel better, I'm thinking about wearing a sweater on TV Thursday. So I mean, we can have a conversation. If we both need to go get a sweater, we can go get one.
Well, I like the spirit of collaboration there, Blake. So maybe we can figure something out. Maybe we can have matching sweaters.
I like it. I don't know where we can find those, but I'm sure they're out there somewhere. Ball State fans, if you know anywhere, by the way, let us know that we could get some really good Ball State or any Christmas sweaters that are the best out there. We look at the women's team, Jeff. It's a team that they've had just a gauntlet of a non-conference schedule, and they were able to take care of Northern Kentucky in their last game, and they've had to battle through some injuries, but this team has one more non-conference game before conference play starts against Anderson, and then they get from December 20th until New Year's Day off. It seems like the way that they're finishing up this slate before conference is a good way for them to rest up a little bit and get healthy.
Yeah, I think so. And for a team that is as deep as ours, for a team that has, to your point, played a gauntlet of a schedule in the non-conference, and for us to be banged up the way we are, playing on Thursday and having about a week and a half break to rest and to prepare for our first conference game, I think is really good scheduling. And I know that Coach Selly put a lot of time into preparing the schedule for this year and this particular team. Now, of course, you always understand that injuries can happen, but you never plan for them necessarily, right? They're always unfortunate when they do happen. But when you have a team that is as deep as ours is, there is this next person mentality. And I think you're seeing that by a lot of the younger talent on our team that is stepping up. And, let's talk about Grace Kingery for a second, who got her first start of the year at Northern Kentucky and dropped an easy 23 points with some outstanding three-point shooting, hit 7 three-pointers, which obviously is a career total, and the number of three-pointers made is a career high, which is pretty impressive for a freshman earning her first start. But that's exactly what Brady needed in dialing up a game plan for that game. It was a win that for the most part throughout the game, the Cardinals dominated, and I think the team needed to see that on the road, even though we're battling through a couple of injuries. And I think this time off will help in getting a couple of those key members of the team back, and as we get early into conference play, elevating our team to help us to hit our stride when we need to as the season continues to progress. But we're just shy of the halfway mark of the season, and so there's a lot of basketball left to play. And I know that our team is excited about it, and certainly excited about playing in front of a home crowd on Thursday, right before the Christmas holiday season.
Jeff, you mentioned Grace Kingery with her career high of 23 points and 7 3-pointers. She's had herself a really good month. She was the one that got David Letterman's Letterman jacket when he handed it to the team on stage. So she's had a great run. First career start, gets Letterman's jacket when Caitlin Clark was in town, and it's been a good stretch for Grace.
It's the little golden touch from David Letterman, and Grace is running with it. Proud of her and proud of her teammates and proud of our coaching staff for what they've accomplished thus far this season.
Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell joining us here before the holiday break. This is the final episode of 2024. Jeff, looking at Ball State football, they have a ton of momentum going on right now. There's that exclusive pre-sale deal as well going through December 20th. Check that out at ballstatesports.com or call the ticket office at 888-BSU-TICKET for more information there on those exclusive deals. But with Coach Yu coming into the fold, he's really hit the ground running. Today it was announced 7 new staff member additions on top of retaining a couple of coaches, but a lot of excitement building there with the coaching staff coming together and players starting to trickle in from the portal.
Well, I'm really proud of the work that Coach Urimovich has done to date. We are about 2 weeks in now to his tenure as Ball State head football coach. And one of the things that resonated with me as we were going through this process is the urgency with which he was approaching wanting this job and the outline of a plan that he presented to me as he was interviewing for the job of this is what I will do when I become the next head football coach at Ball State. And to date, he has been absolutely 100% true to his word and true to the execution of that plan. And so when you get a plan that is presented to you that is as firm as it was during the interview process and the level of research and detail that he had put into this particular opportunity, it really is gratifying to see it come to fruition. So I know he's pleased with where he is from a roster construction standpoint, from a staff construction standpoint. And this week, as we record this podcast, is loaded with visits, and we're going to continue to have new Cardinals come join the team. We're going to continue to have new staff join the team as well, and we got to get ready as the guys come back to start the spring semester for us to have a really deliberate spring practice period in terms of game plan construction and strength and conditioning. There's just so much that goes into getting ready for next football season, and the roster construction will continue through the spring as we welcome new guys that come in to the fold in the summer. But the plan is being executed, and the urgency with which Coach Urimovich and his staff are going about their business, and the urgency level I think that's creeping into our existing roster is palpable. And so, please get your tickets. Please get excited with us as we get going in the Coach U era, because there's a lot to be excited about. And again, I credit Coach Urimovich and his vision for the future of our football program, and really excited that he's a Cardinal and excited that he's leading our football team right now.
Some of the staff members that were announced here this week: defensive run game coordinator, defensive line coach Adam Sawicki. Ray Smith has taken over the defensive pass game coordinator slot, cornerbacks coach. Alex Barr is the offensive line coach, while Sean Chase taking over tight ends. Ray Holmes is the inside receivers coach. Rory Mannering, the safeties coach. And then on the strength and conditioning side, TJ Greenstone named the head man there. So that's the new staff that's coming in so far that's been announced this week. And then Shaq Van and Jeff Knowles are retained in their current positions as well for Ball State football. So that's a look at the staff. Jeff, let's move over to what's happening coming up in the quote-unquote spring semester, with January rolling through pretty quickly here. Men's volleyball and gymnastics are about to begin, and I know both of those teams and those staffs are really excited for what's to come because of the success that's been built on those programs, but also the construction of the staff and rosters for both of those programs are right where they need to be to feel like they can compete for conference championships.
I think both of those teams are going to be really exciting to watch this spring. And we've got 4 home gymnastics meets, and then we've got a full slate of volleyball matches throughout the spring, and I think both of those teams are going to be electric to watch. So I encourage our fans to get excited for both of those programs, indoor sports when it's cold, and come watch the Cardinals compete. And that is something that both those teams are going to do. They are a competitive bunch, both of them, and so I'm looking forward to watching them compete and represent Ball State. They have worked so hard, and we don't see a lot of them in the fall because, gymnastics has their facility that's kind of tucked away, and they get after it. And then volleyball is overshadowed by some of the fall sports, and they work early in the mornings, and it's time for them to shine, and they're excited about it. And they both had some tune-up matches, inter squads, both on the gymnastics front and the men's volleyball front. So they are really anxious to get back from the holiday break and to get their seasons going. And I'm looking forward to watching them compete.
It'll all happen really fast. Volleyball starts on January 3rd and 5th at home against Wabash and Trine. And then gymnastics starts their season on January 3rd as well, but that's at the Missouri Quad Meet. Their first home meet is the Ball State Quad, where they get to bring in Illinois, Southeast Missouri State, and Wisconsin Eau Claire. That's really unique and cool that Ball State's bringing in Illinois, Jeff, and that's a team that they saw in the postseason last year. So there's going to be a very exciting meet to start off things in Worthen for gymnastics.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a popular sport, and I'm pleased that we are able to host a meet that has really high quality opponents coming into Worthen Arena. So looking forward to that one in particular.
Looking at Ball State men's and women's swimming and diving, that program's also in full action. Their next meet is January 10th against Indiana State, but they're both trying to start off 2025 on the high note, Jeff.
Yeah, they are. I ran into Coach Jay Agnew as I was leaving the building the other evening, and he's already in midseason form. Just getting both those programs ready to go, hitting their stride in the pool, and they've had some good start to the season in some meets that they've had, and continues as we roll into January. So looking forward to continuing to follow those two teams and programs and what they're accomplishing in the pool.
Yeah, both the men's and women's swim and dive programs have senior day on January 11th. That's against Evansville. So make sure to go to Llewellyn Aquatic Center, support Ball State women's swimming and diving and the men's program as well. They're on January 11th for senior day. All right, Jeff, before we let you go here on This Week in Ball State Sports, anything you have for Ball State fans as we go to the holiday season?
Well, just an expression of gratitude as we go into the holiday season, and wish our fans all the very best as they spend time with family and friends and enjoy this time. And look forward to seeing everybody on Thursday and Saturday at Worthen Arena to watch our basketball teams compete, and then look forward to seeing everyone in the new year as we ring in 2025 and continue our momentum and the growth and development of Ball State athletics. Thank you very much.
Awesome, Jeff. We'll see you in that Christmas sweater on Thursday.
I look forward to it, Mick. Thanks so much, and go Cards.
They fly down the court and fly through the air.
Right to left, the shifty guard pulls up straight away, three, sinks it.
And we fly with the Cardinals.
Straight away, Trey lets it loose and buries it.
This is your home for Ball State Cardinals basketball.
Drives baseline left, he throws it off the window and it drops in.
All the action all season long is right here.
Hey, Cardinal fans, welcome back inside This Week in Ball State Sports. And today we have a special guest with one of our corporate sponsors, Dr. Michael Thorpe, joining us from ReVitalize Med Spa and the Indiana Vein Institute. Dr. Thorpe, really appreciate your time and thanks for joining the show.
Oh, it's a pleasure being here.
So, Dr. Thorpe, just want to give you the floor to kind of open this up and give our fans an idea of what ReVitalize Med Spa is and what you do at the Indiana Vein Institute.
I'll start with the Vein Institute. It is a medical office focused on legs, varicose veins, heavy legs. I'm sure everybody's looked around and seen maybe some legs that have like that discoloration on the bottom of them, legs that are heavy, that are swollen, that have pain, achy if you're on your feet all the time. So in the Vein Institute is a wholly contained location where we do the examinations, we do the diagnostics, we do the treatments. Everything you can imagine from the vein side of your legs is treated here in town, no traveling, great recovery, back to life as soon as possible. And that's what the vein side does. So covered by insurance, which is really cool. The vein side is an insurance-based coverage. So if you're thinking it was only cosmetic, nah, it's more than cosmetic. It's insurance-based. It's a disease that we take care of. So consider that if you have any vein or leg issues. So the med spa side is kind of my baby. I mean, as I was helping people on the vein side, I noticed how they felt so good about themselves with the improvement of their legs. As we would take care of their legs, they would feel better, but they would look better and would walk a little taller, that sort of thing, and feel great. And I thought, well, what other areas could I do to help people out with this? So I started looking into the med spa world. You know, there it starts off with toxin, neurotoxin, Botox, and other things, fillers, and then started learning about lasers and other energies and things that can be done to really enhance the natural beauty that people carry with them. That sometimes they're like, they find something they don't like. Well, let's get the thing they don't like out of the way to really enhance that natural beauty. And I have fallen in love with the ability to change people's lives by removing that little thing or big thing that they see that makes them self-conscious, that affects the way that they hit the world. Through what I can do, I can help them engage the world with standing a little taller and feeling a lot better. So it's completely satisfying to watch people's lives improve for the better.
Dr. Thorpe, how did you first get into the business that you're in?
So I'm a general surgeon, and as I went into private practice, I was looking for an option to do treatments in the office, something that would allow me to have greater flexibility with my life. And I went into the varicose vein business because it's all office-based treatments, and it allows me to have full control. You know, in our lives today, how many times do we not have control of some of the most basic things like our time? And this was a freedom for me to reclaim a lot of my time and spend time with my family.
Dr. Thorpe joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports. Dr. Thorpe, when you look at the relationship between ReVitalize Med Spa, the Indiana Vein Institute, and the Muncie community, how have you seen that continue to develop?
One of my just greatest pleasures that has developed for me is integrating into and networking with the business community in Muncie. So as a physician, when I was working in the hospital, you know, you go to the hospital, work in the hospital, you go home. You really don't see the community as much as you actually believe. I thought when I was in the hospital, like, hey, look, I'm such a great part of this community, only to really find out when I started in business on my own that Muncie was so much more than I had experienced. The amount of people and the type of people that I had never met before was just incredible. So I started doing some networking groups. I would go to some on Tuesday mornings, some Wednesday lunches. I would go to different groups and have met some of the most amazing people in my life. Interjecting, you know, kind of inserting myself into the networking business community, and it has been just so much fun to make new friends, to expand my bubble of fun, of friendship and influence. And so the med spa, so the Vein Institute has brought to the people in this community something that they had to drive to Indianapolis for. So that's one thing that was great, that I brought them greater treatments, greater service, something that kept them here in town so that they could take care of things here and not have to go through the travels and, you know, the risks of all that. And also the med spa brings things that are usually only found in the bigger cities. I mean, I brought some high-end treatments that are only found elsewhere. And that whole process has made me become a greater part of Muncie, and it's just been fantastic.
Dr. Thorpe joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports. I think that what you mentioned about the community aspect is so important, Dr. Thorpe, and how you've seen your role within Muncie grow outside of just being in the hospital. When you take a look at the relationship with Ball State as well, being such a big part of the Muncie community. Why did you feel like it was important to connect with Ball State as part of your operation?
If you know anything about Muncie, you know it's Ball State is the heart, the heartbeat of Muncie. I mean, it's a you can't have one without the other. And so I felt that in this community, the people that I wanted to serve are the people that love the Muncie community and that love Ball State, because this is where their home is, their life, their energy, their excitement, and the love and support of their local college teams was where I knew that I kind of identified with, as I would connect with the community and connect. A lot of people saying, I love the Cardinals, I love this, I like that. That's perfect, because that's part of the community I want to be involved with. And so what better way to connect with the community to say, hey, I support the Cardinals. Let me kind of put my money where my mouth is. Let's become partners, and show the community that not only do I want to be here in the community, but be a part of it and support the things that make our community great.
Dr. Thorpe, are there any projects that you're currently working on to help enhance what you're doing now, or are you just trying to continue working with the ReVitalize Med Spa and the Indiana Vein Institute?
There is a project that has been slow in development, and I know our community, just like when I started the Vein Institute, did not have varicose vein treatments here. Currently, we have one option for lymphedema treatment, and that lymphedema waiting list is very long at our current location here in town. Not ours, but the current location in town that takes care of lymphedema, which is swelling of the legs and different parts. And so that's a project we're working on to enhance the vein treatments. It goes hand in hand with what we're doing on the vein side. And that's one project we're bringing on. It's going to take some time because we've run into some hurdles, as all businesses do. And so we're accomplishing that as we can.
Dr. Thorpe joining us here from ReVitalize Med Spa and the Indiana Vein Institute. Dr. Thorpe, before I let you go here on This Week in Ball State Sports, is there anything you want Ball State fans to know about you, your business, or what you can offer?
Well, when it comes to the med spa field, if there's something that you have a concern about, there's something that we have to treat it. There's very few things that you would come to talk to me about that we wouldn't have a solution. And that's what we're looking for, solutions. We don't make people into something they're not. We really focus on subtle, significant changes. The Midwest is somewhat, I guess, skeptical of the med spa treatments, because they've seen what Hollywood and other places on the coasts, what they've done and how they've made people look. And they're like, oh, that's not the way I want to look, thinking that they're going to look not like themselves. All I do is I help you look more like yourself, more like the self that you want to see, maybe that you remember from your pictures or before age has started to come at you. That's my focus. Subtle, significant changes, subtle, significant improvements, things that make you feel better, look better, just have a greater vitality. One of my greatest compliments, a patient came to me and said, people didn't know what I got done, but they kept on saying, well, you just look refreshed. You look so rested. You look so, did you do something different with your skin? That's the best compliment for me, is that the patient looks better, feels better, and nobody can tell that they had something done. Like, there's nothing that's so obvious that they got something done. And that's what we do. That's how we focus our treatments. That's how we focus our whole goal and mission, is to make those improvements that people love and enjoy, and they don't feel self-conscious about having something done.
Dr. Thorpe, how can people find you in your practice?
So for one, we're on Facebook, ReVitalize Med Spa Muncie. If you look up ReVitalize Muncie, that's where we are. We're on Instagram, TikTok, all the social medias. If we are at our website, is revitalize-med-spa.com. And then we are located behind Hobby Lobby on Royal Drive, which you can find our address on all the social media stuff and everything. But we're behind Hobby Lobby on Royal Drive. And then the Vein Institute is also IndianaVein.com. IndianaVeins.com is where we're located. And the Vein Institute and the Med Spa are in the same building. So if you come for one, you'll find the other. And we'll take care of everything. And if you want to know more about us, if you check out the most recent edition of the Muncie magazine, there's an excellent article in there and some wonderful pictures that gives you a face to the name, a face to the voice. And so you can see what the staff looks like and what our building looks like. And also, this time of year, don't forget to check out our specials. We've got some amazing 12 Days of Christmas deals going through the entire month of December. All the way up till Christmas, kind of last minute gifts, whatever you're looking for, or even afterwards to think that's what I wanted. All the way through the end of the month, have these wonderful 12 Days of Christmas specials to celebrate the holidays and get you ready for the new year.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Thorpe, really appreciate your time and joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports, and appreciate your partnership with Ball State Athletics.
Go Cards.
Thanks for listening to This Week in Ball State Sports, presented by Gainbridge. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Gainbridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network.